In a dimly lit tavern within the grand city of Vemiar, the gem of northern Carverat, Benjamin Quill, an inquisitive bard obsessed with stories of grandeur and glory, sits down with a band of adventurers known as the H.O.P.L.I.T.E s and recounts their epic tales since the inception of their group. Okay, let's go over this one more time. Your story begins in northern Aldahari, in the small town of Saxondale, where you found a mysterious cave out of time, where a body of a fallen celestial warrior lie. In this cave, an empty pedestal sits in front of a mural dedicated to an unknown ancient prophecy, with the name of Velium carved on the mural in Celestial. The H.O.P.L.I.T.E s, your group, which means what again?
It stands for the Heroic Omen-Preventing Licensed Independent Transportation and Extermination Squadron.
That is a mouthful, but cool
it
name.
works.
So your group consisted of Rona Thimbley, a medic during the 100-Year War, Var Ragnon, a wizard struggling to cope with his nightmares, Saren Morenstern, a runaway noble seeking adventure, Cercius Anagnos, a wanted man on the run for an atrocity that wasn't his fault, and Hector Stoneborn, who also goes by Gideon Lawlight, a name created to be a reminder of his oath to reclaim his kingdom from an ancient evil, the Grand Lich Zerakaz. Upon hearing Hector's story and his quest to meet the Emperor to ask for aid, the rest of you joined him on his journey to Amarith, the grand capital of Aldahari, one of the 3 countries of the continent Tirafel. It was in Amarith where you met your 6th member, Eldon Roland, who at the time went by Warren Fredrickson, who helped the group by dealing with a rather nasty run-in with bandits. It was after this where the group met Roman Velasius Toril IV, the Emperor of Aldahari, who promised Hector troops to reclaim his kingdom for infiltrating Carverat, the western country, to attain information regarding their intentions on reigniting the flames of war after ending the devastating 100-Year War only a decade ago. The group agreed to go on this perilous quest with the instruction to report to Ashanga Yor, the War Master of Tyrion. However, on the eve of your departure, late in the night, the noble district of Amarith was attacked. In response, you all set out in the night to help defend the city, where you clashed with these attackers, only to find out that they were you from the future. After a sore defeat, you all discovered the reason behind your future selves' attack on the city. In the town center, a massive hole was created in the cobblestone, wherein you could see a cave, very similar to the one you found outside of Saxondale. However, after this battle, the celestial warrior Guardian was left with just enough life to explain to you all what it is that these caves hold. These caverns are known as Tempest Junctions, or temporal anchors that house Tempest Junctions. These powerful ancient objects, 7 in total, are integral to a prophecy foretelling the release of Chimaticus, the temporal dragon destined to destroy the world. It became clear at this point that your lives would grow to be intertwined with those of your future selves. By either foot, ship, or magic, you all made your way into the southern country of Radesh. Covertly making your way to the south, you faced vampires, dragons, wyverns, a kraken aboleth hybrid, and a lot of time in a fighting arena. Also, you all encountered a powerful elven archmage in the small town of Amberosa, saving you from nearly being uncovered at a guard checkpoint. This powerful wizard introduced himself to you as Arendor Falas, and revealed to you that through the power of chronomancy, he was able to communicate with himself from the future and learn about the events that will soon come to pass for your group. It was Arendor who informed you that the leader of your future selves is a powerful chronomancer named Cillian Aratus, who goes by the name Parallax. His plan involving your future selves, while a mystery, was to use the Tempest Junctions to reform the world in his image. It was here you learned that the Tempest Junctions can be used to release Climaticus, the temporal dragon, so Parallax can bend him and time itself to his will. With this, you all set out with caution not to become the tools that your future selves became. In search for answers, Rona, regarding you and your brother's sensitivity to the dream realm, you all find yourselves in Port Velas, looking for a man named Kalios Usama. The clues to his whereabouts led to a ship called the Southern Promise, and scheduled to ship out to the southern continent of Uthal immediately. In a rash and spontaneous decision, you all decide to board the vessel as protectors, the title given to guardians to protect the miners from the dangers of Uthal. Rona, you and your brother Var found your answers from Kalios, who now goes by Ben, and learned that Var is the prophesized Dream Walker, a shepherd meant to lead the trapped dream spirits of this world onto the next. And Rona, you learn that your role is to protect him, at least until he is powerful enough. With your answers found, you all decide to stay on this vessel as protectors for the pay. Once you made it to Uthal, the miners began to get to work, mining these giant crystals, which had a mysterious anti-gravitational effect. This is where your story gets a little weird.
It's been weird.
Yes, it has. I guess weirder is the term. The biggest threat to the miners that venture to Uthal are the four-armed behemoths that savagely attack those that take the crystals. In a moment of bravery, Eldon, you stood tall against one of these behemoths, and Rona, you used magic to communicate with them. And with diplomacy, Rona was able to learn that these behemoths are an alien race named the Vatul.
Vatul.
Sorry, the Vatul, and their tribe named the Vol. It was here where Rona learned that the Vatul are from a place called Avelium, the same name inscribed on the mural in the caves that hold the Tempest Junctions, and that the crystals are actually mined off the back of a giant cosmic creature called a Devarhin.
You're close. Devarhin.
Devarhin, whose magical effects, when applied correctly, can cause ships to fly. Is that right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Negotiating with the crew of the Southern Promise, you were able to give these Vatul the tools that they needed to mine the Devarhin's crystals so that they could repair their ship that flies. Also, shortly after helping the Vatul, you had another run-in with your future selves. Another one of these anchor points for a Tempest Junction was nearby. You located the door leading to the anchor point, but with no way to open it. Rona, you contacted the only chronomancer you know to help. And Philos made his way to your location quickly to help open the door and get you ahead of your future group. Once inside, you were met with resistance in the form of 3 angelic defenders, which you all fought through to gain possession of your first Tempest Junction, an item that allows you to peer into the past or even alter time to your will. While walking out of the anchor point, you met your future group, but Parallax, their leader, who kept his face hidden by an ancient-looking mask, let you keep the junction. Is that right?
Well, yes, he let us keep it, but he said, keep it, I'll get it back later.
Well, that's intimidating. With the junction in your possession, Far was able to use one of its powers to peer into the past, way into the past, to a time when the plane was once a planet. And in this vision, you witnessed that the Vatul were chasing down the Devarhin and getting trapped within the new form of the plane. After the Southern Promise, also known as the 212th voyage to Uthal, departed the frozen wasteland, so did the Vatul on their flying ship, with sails on the underside of their vessel. Am I getting this right?
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
They departed to go north of Raceville, and hide amongst the mountains where food would be more plentiful.
They also seem to prefer the cold.
Interesting. Makes sense. You notified Ashenga Yor, your trusted ally, to keep an eye out for the flying ship and to keep the Vatul's existence as secret as possible. On the voyage back, Rona, you were able to use the junction to peer into the past to view our very own gods and the roles that they played in the creation of the plane. You learned that our gods, as powerful as they are actually lesser gods, and stole away the planet to transform it into a plane so that they could rule on their own without the outer gods intervening. This plot was led by none other than the god of birth and renewal, Lathander. Around this time, you learned that the Tempest Junctions are not just artifacts of immense power, but a prison that houses a powerful ancient being. While tinkering with the junction, it opened a portal to a pocket dimension where you saw another alien being chained within, known as the Azir Prime, a race imbued with the power of their god. This Azir Prime, who called himself Revas, informed you that it was the raw power within him and the 6 other trapped Azir Prime that gave the gods the power that they needed to imprison Chimaticus, the temporal dragon. And with this, they were able to create the plane. Now, once you got back to Radesh, your companion, Saren Morenstern, departed from the group on a quest to locate her missing mother.
I miss Saren.
But then, you took your earnings, suited yourselves up for the infiltration of Kavarat, and ventured through the Mare Deep Forest to gain entry. While on the way to the forest, you had a run-in with an infamous ancient red dragon, Jaiva Saren, who decimated the town of Torval with the aid of his enslaved fire giants, before returning to his volcanic lair on Mount Jaivas.
That's actually where I found out my Griffin Icaros can outrun an ancient red.
I need to get a griffin. And Rona, with the power of Shantea, you rebuilt the town with nothing short of a miracle. Amazing.
She is.
Eldon, you shed the guise of Warren Fredrickson when you recovered your lost memory by retrieving your family's moonblade from your father in Cain Iogard.
It was more of a curse, but that's a different story for a different day.
Curses. While in the Mare Deep Forest, you made your way past centaurs, cursed spirits, and a hostile wood elf queen to find yet another anchor point. It was at this anchor point Parallax himself projected to you, Hector, and summoned you to meet and speak with your future selves, who calls himself Hector Godbreaker. For you learned his warhammer that he wields actually belongs to the god of craft, Gond, who Hector and Parallax somehow defeated. When you entered the anchor point, you met your future Hector standing over the body of the celestial guardian of this junction. And you were lured into a trap. He swung at you and a fight commenced. Godbreaker bested you without breaking a sweat. And while you lay at death's door, Godbreaker lifted the hammer for a final swing before Parallax himself called him back, stating that he needed you alive.
We still haven't found out what he wants with me.
Interesting. And after that devastating defeat, you discovered that the Tempest Junctions somehow got mixed up. And you ended up with another junction, with a different Azir Prime inside. Zasha, she goes by. You then pushed through the rest of the forest, facing another dragon, a moon-worshipping cult, and a spider the size of a giant, and made it to the border of Kavarat, where you met Gari Nasarin, an ancient brass dragon that welcomed you into his home and gifted you objects of immense power in exchange for extraordinary stories.
It's true. We call him Gary.
Gary. It was at this time where Var decided to teleport to the tomb of an ancient lich, Zerakaz, to learn more about how to defeat him. A terrible mishap occurred, obviously, and Var ended up bludgeoning himself against the side of a mountain, before ending up in the Black Sands, the inhospitable ashen desert of Kavarat.
We kind of all expected him to be a little brighter.
The group at Gary's rushed into Kavarat to save their foolish wizard. It was here where Velzan Iso, the prince of southern Kavarat, found Var, going off of the word of an oracle. You learn that Velzan was wanting to dismantle his father's rule over the south, which you now discovered was the leading factor to the Emperor's fears. With Velzan's help, the party reunited south of the Black Sands before moving on to the Maw, a factory of sorts that utilized the power of a mysterious black crystalline shard that allowed the South to create a mindless army of flesh and steel. You snuck into the base of the massive chasm and stole the shard, which triggered an immense quake which caused the factory to cave in on itself, effectively shutting down the production of the South's army. With the shard in hand, you all discovered the true nature of its power. The shard is another prison of sorts, akin to the Tempest Junctions itself. And it houses a being known as an Onith?
Onith.
An Onith. With the shard, Cerseus, you were able to utilize its power to unearth your true identity, a child from the lost world of Avelium, somehow trapped within this plane. You discovered you are from a race of humans that were gifted the power through an Azia Prime. Your race is known as the Avun.
I don't know how it happened, but it's not the first time I've changed races, though.
That's concerning. You all then made your way towards the Screaming Isles, the massive prison island off of the southwest of Kavarat, where you retrieved a few lost companions. After fighting through the prison guard and their Baylor,
And survived, only thanks to my light.
He's too much.
how romantic. Among the companions you saved was Ennius Day4, the Archmage of Alvaron, Hector's kingdom, who has been imprisoned for over 2 decades. And this is the first time you're meeting him.
Yes, but that's another tale.
The man was crazy at the time.
Well, after you got Ennius back to his right mind, you did learn that Parallax was actually the one responsible for his imprisonment at the Screaming Isles. And you also learn that Parallax is not Cillian Eratis, as once believed, but Erendorphalos himself.
Still can't believe we didn't figure this out earlier.
Yeah, we shouldn't have missed that.
It seems a little
I had a
obvious to
hunch.
me.
A little.
Well, there's a lot going on.
Hindsight and all.
Ennius, Eratis, and another wizard named Archon Vale were once headmasters of the Ordo Nova, a college for magic. Here, a young Erendorphalos submitted a thesis paper on how to use a special form of time magic to alter the world to a point where war and atrocities could be prevented. The thesis, however, had such extreme ideologies that the 3 headmasters expelled Phalos, sending him down a path to becoming Parallax. After this, you all moved on to the Black Sands and discovered the ancient Osian Temple. Within the temple, you unearthed the ancient heart of Zerakaz, a catalyst for his transformation into lichdom. This heart, now in your possession, holds the soul of the ruler of the ancient kingdom of Osian, the ruler that would one day become Zerakaz. By retrieving the heart, you were able to effectively reverse the necrotic hold that the ancient magics held on the land, returning the Black Sands to its natural oasis state. With the heart of Zerakaz, Hector has what he needs to destroy the Grand Lich once and for all. And with the Black Sands reversed, you move towards the Vemiar Isles, and Rona, you claimed the throne from your manipulative Aunt Rosa and became the rightful Queen of Kavarat. Now, you all plan to head back to the Emperor and ensure that war does not spark again, while trying to figure out how to deal with Parallax and the plans that the future group holds. Did I get all that right?
Yeah.
Seems about.
Pretty much.
It's close enough.
Well, best of luck to you, Hoplites.
We'll need it.
Indeed.
You'll need it.
Thank you.